What's going on, y'all? It is time to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors. This is going to be a fun one, so let's dive right into it. Now, this one was released in February of 1987. It would be written by Wes Craven with the help of Bruce Wagner, produced by Robert Shea with the help of Wes Craven, and directed by Chuck Russell. Now, we would get some return performances in this film from Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson. We'd of course get Robert Englund back as Freddy Krueger, and we would also see John Saxon back as Mr. Thompson. Some new performances that we would get out of this one: Patricia Arquette would star as Kristen Parker, kind of our new main protagonist here. We would get Rodney Eastman and Ken Sagoes as Joey and Kincaid, respectively. Plus, we would get a performance from a young Lawrence Fishburne as Max, one of our orderlies at the hospital. So, after the reaction to A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, New Line Cinema was not super happy with the way that movie was received and sought out Wes Craven basically to get the franchise back on track here with this sequel. And this movie would serve almost kind of like a direct sequel to the 1984 film, where Nancy is now off working as a psychiatrist, specializing in sleep studies, and she begins working at this hospital where a group of kids are having similar experiences and similar dreams, all consistent with Freddy's MO. And Nancy is ultimately connected with Kristen, our main character in this one, who ultimately learns she has the power to pull people into her dreams. And then subsequently, all of her friends learn that they have similar types of odd powers in their dreams. And then the task ultimately becomes that Nancy coaches these kids and helps them through battling Freddy on his own turf. All this while Dr. Neil Gordon is tasked with getting Mr. Thompson out of the bar to go ultimately put Freddy to rest once and for all. So we would learn some interesting things along the way about the lore of Freddy Krueger in this one as well. And ultimately, in the end, Nancy and her dad would pay the ultimate price in this one to beat Freddy. So that's what we got as far as plot goes and everything. Let's go ahead and dive into the list of positives that we got for this one. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and dive into these positives here for Dream Warriors. First things first, this movie does a great job of getting us back on track for everything that Freddy's Revenge throws off as far as our dream logic and our dream rules go. There's no possession in this one. It's just back to good old fashioned, you go to sleep and Freddy's coming to get you. So I'm a big fan of course correction on that. Moving on from that, another thing I'll point out for positives here on this one is the cast of characters that we get. I'm a big fan of Kristen. She's an awesome character, but I also really like Joey and Kincaid as well, particularly Kincaid. If I'm being honest, he's probably, if not my favorite, definitely in top contention for one of my top two or three favorite characters in this entire franchise.
Lady, how much longer you gonna keep blowing smoke up our ass?
That's enough, Kincaid.
There will be no repeat occurrences of last night's events. From now on, your doors will be locked during sleeping hours. We'll start a policy of evening sedation for everybody.
The fuck you will. Anybody tries drugs on me, get his ass kicked.
You've just bought yourself a night in the quiet room, mister. Now sit down.
Fuck you. You sit down.
Easy, Kincaid.
Nobody gonna put me to sleep. Man, get away from me, man. Let him go. Man, I don't want to go to sleep. Ain't nobody gonna put me to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. Man, ain't nobody gonna put me to sleep. Get your hand.
He's awesome, and unfortunately, he's short-lived in the franchise outside of this movie and a small amount of another one. Wish we would have gotten longer with Kincaid. But other than that, as far as the characters go, this one's kind of redundant at this point, but Freddy is awesome in this movie. Robert Englund does another incredible job, and this is probably the perfect balance for Freddy in this movie as far as both sides of what Freddy offers as a character. We get the sinister, scary side, but we also get that campy, funny side, but we haven't gone too far in either direction in this one. Like in the first couple movies, it's kind of all trying to be dark, trying to be sinister. After this movie, it's kind of a complete adjustment to the other direction for the most part as we progress up until a certain point it is. But this one is the perfect balance for me. We get some awesome one-liners, but we also get, that dark Freddy at times. And yeah, I just feel like he hits it out the park with this as far as the performance and the combination of all the factors of Freddy, so to speak.
Let's get high.
Another thing about Freddy in this one that I'm a big fan of is the lore or the backstory that we get explained to us about Freddy in this one. So we get to learn about his mother and kind of what she went through, who she was a bit, and how Freddy sort of came to be. And it is not a pretty story, and it explains a lot about this man as an individual and how he could have became, you know, so messed up. The whole line they give about him being the bastard child of 100 maniacs kind of says a lot. That's a wild line. And it also kind of, as I said, explains how this man could have become so evil, so heinous. I mean, to the point to where he transcended life as far as evil goes. So I definitely think that the backstory that we get there is a positive. Yeah. So last thing I'll leave here on the positives is in relation to a couple of the kills that we get. Now, for me, these two are probably, I mean, they're definitely my two favorite for this movie, but I would say these are up there as far as my two favorite for this entire franchise. And the first one's going to be Philip, and a lot of people consider this to be the marionette kill, but that's essentially what happens is Freddy goes in and rips Philip's tendons out through his arms and his legs, and then proceeds to use them to puppeteer him through the hospital hallways out to this balcony where makes him jump off essentially at the end. But before making him jump off, we get this awesome shot of Freddy up in the sky, kind of laughing and having a great time as the other kids are looking up from another window. Just an awesome scene overall, and one of the best kills in this franchise. Another awesome one that we get is the Jennifer kill, where we have this girl that's always wanted to be on TV, and she's determined she's gonna be famous on television one day. And she falls asleep watching TV. Freddy proceeds to slam her head through the television to kill her and hits her with the "Welcome to Prime Time, bitch" line that everybody knows so fondly at this point.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Those two kills and those two scenes overall are awesome, and some of my favorites, as I said, in the whole franchise. But that's what I got on positives here, so I'm going to talk about the pesky negative stuff now. Alright, y'all, so let's go ahead and dive into these negatives here. And I'll be honest, I don't really have many negatives for this movie. I'm kind of just being nitpicky on the ones that I do, because overall I'm a big fan of this movie. But one thing I'll point out, towards the end of the movie, we get the little scene where Freddy's bones have been unearthed and they kind of repossessed back to life, and we have the scene where the bones are kind of fighting back. Looking back through 2026 eyes, for me personally, maybe that one's kind of a little bit cheesy. Mainly, I think it's because there's a commercial that came out after the fact that I think of. It's like a brisk iced tea commercial, I think, where there's this skeleton that drinks the tea and turns into a snowman. Just something about the way that skeleton is animated in that commercial and the way that skeleton looks in this movie. I kind of associate them together for some weird reason that I cannot explain to you, but it's kind of made that scene somewhat cheesy in my mind now. But it doesn't take away from how much I like this movie. But only other thing I can really think to point out as a negative on this one is, while I don't really expect acting performances always in 80s slasher movies to have to meet any real particular standards or anything like that, there is a little bit to be desired from the character Taryn's performance. I forget the actress's name in this one, to be honest with you, but it's just one of those ones where she tries to deliver some pretty powerful lines at some moments that it's just doesn't hit for me.
Okay, asshole. Let's dance.
But that's really all I got on negatives. And then, again, I'm nitpicking with those. They do not take away from the enjoyment of this one for me at all. But yeah, that's really all I got on this one. We'll go ahead and drop a couple final thoughts and get out of here. On Dream Warriors. First thing I'll say about this movie is I just appreciate it for being the first of two times really within this franchise that a movie has had to kind of pull it back onto the rails, so to speak. So definitely appreciate this movie for that. And it's just an awesome sequel overall. And maybe this is a controversial opinion, maybe it's not. I really don't know. But for me, I mean, not saying that I think that it's a more important film or that it's even a better film necessarily for that matter than the original. But for me, the watch experience and the amount of fun that I have watching these movies, personally, I think I enjoy the experience of Dream Warriors just a little bit better than the original, honestly. Now, as I said, I respect everything that the original has. Obviously, the original, is the original, so this wouldn't exist without it. I get all of that type of stuff. I'm just saying I have more fun, I think, watching this one than I do that first film. But that's really all I got on this one. The only other thing I can think to point out is, how can you not love, the Dokken theme track for this movie? I mean, if you like any 80s music at all, I mean, it's a pretty sweet one. I mean, George Lynch is the man. So that's all I got though on this one, guys. I'm rating this one. It's probably 4.5 out of 5 for me. Like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. So that's all I got on this one, though. Be on the lookout for the next one. I think we're gonna go ahead and we're hitting Halloween 4. So boy Michael Myers is coming back. Let's talk about all the fun stuff that comes with that. If you hung out with me for this long, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. Share it with some friends if you feel so inclined. In the meantime, appreciate y'all. We'll see you on the next one.